to 8. It is less than a week until global leaders meet in Glasgow for the COP26 climate conference. Knightswood Primary School is near where the conference is being held. Some of its pupils have been speaking on Zoom to Dr. Stephen Cornelius, who's chief advisor on climate change at the WWF, a veteran of 13 COPs. They've given him the key questions that they say they want answered and they'd like to ask ahead of the summit.
Hi, I'm Lexi. I'm 11 years old. What are the main threats to us all due to the recent changes in climate?
I think the main threat depends where in the world you live. So, for example, I come from Australia, and Australia is seeing longer droughts and hotter bushfires. In the Arctic, where Scotland's the nearest neighbour to the Arctic, the sea ice is shrinking, so polar bears and walruses need this to hunt and haul out.
Hi, my name's Kelvin. I'm 10 years old and I go to Knightswood Primary School. What will the world be like by 2030 if we all try our best to help fight climate change? Alternatively, what might the world look like if people don't take this seriously enough?
If world leaders don't take things seriously enough, the world will get a lot warmer and we'll see a lot more impacts. So extreme weather events such as heat waves and floods and big storms. But if we do our best, then in 2030, we'll be burning a lot less fossil fuels around the world. We'll be using much more clean, renewable energy such as wind and solar power. We'll have stopped the destruction of nature and started restoring forests and peatlands because these draw down carbon from the atmosphere.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm 11 years old. After COP26, how quickly will it be possible to implement the changes agreed by world leaders and governments there? Will there be deadlines and blinding agreements?
Thanks, Dylan. Change can't happen overnight. And I think with every day that passes, the window to help the planet is getting smaller and smaller. But things, really can happen. They can happen quite quickly. So you're all 10 and 11. And, the Paris Agreement is younger than you guys. So the Paris Agreement on climate change, it's 6 years old. From this agreement, it's already inspired action around the world with countries doing much more than we thought 6 years ago. So there's a lot more pledges to cut emissions now. There's a lot of pledges to get to net zero emissions around mid-century. But it's not enough. And so from Glasgow at COP26, we want to show that the Paris Agreement is working. And I think we will need some clear deadlines for more ambition. Kelvin.
How does climate change affect the animal population?
Climate change puts wildlife and their homes under greater pressure. So many animals and plants can't cope with the changing environment where their habitats may alter, food and their water becomes scarcer and the seasons shift. And some animals may need to move if they can. So, in the worst instance, climate change can lead to the loss of an animal's home. And so one example is the bramble K. melamus, which is a small rat-like mammal, which was found on one small island north of Australia. And it became extinct a few years ago when sea level rise wiped out its habitat and it had nowhere to go. Mountain hares in the highlands of Scotland are staying in their white winter coats long after the snow melts. So you've got warmer temperatures, so you have a shorter winter. And this leaves them more vulnerable to predators. So Lexi, I think you have another question.
Should space tourism and international flights be allowed, and what impact does this have on climate change?
I'm sure lots of you would like to be able to go on exciting places around the world on holiday. So it's tricky to say that, we shouldn't fly. But this is about the choices we make. So a single international flight can have the same emissions as driving a car for a year. Space tourism, it does sound exciting as we learn about the universe. But what we are trying to do right now is fix the climate emergency here on Earth. And Dylan, do you have another question?
Yes. If you could name one single most important thing that we could all do to stop climate change, what would that be?
I think there's more than one thing. So our carbon footprint, there's a thing called a carbon footprint, and it determines our impact on the planet. In our daily lives, we need to buy less new stuff. We need to be aware of what we're buying in terms of, for example, plastics or food that might lead to destruction of forests in other parts of the world. We need to make sure our homes are well insulated so we don't waste energy. So I think it's important that we all think about our actions. Do you need a new toy? Can you buy that secondhand? I'd talk to your parents. Do you use renewable electricity at home? All these changes can make a big difference. Lexi and Dylan and Kelvin, thanks for those questions. And I'd like to ask you a question about what are you guys doing in your own lives? What is the big thing that you're doing and thinking about around climate change with COP coming to Glasgow?
We're doing like big projects in school. We're learning more. We're doing like how we can help.
We've been learning a lot in class. We encourage people to walk to school, and we're just trying to get that message around.
We've been making projects about climate change and try to encourage others to help.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And it's important to have those discussions and to do that work and to understand about it all. So thanks all for your time and your questions today. It's been really fun for me.
Thank you very much. Bye.